Alright, this video I'm gonna speak about Bruce Lee versus Wong Man. Alright, so I don't want to dwell too much on this topic. I just want to move on, but people just are asking me about it, and basically Wong Man supposedly is the person that Bruce Lee fought in order to have the right to teach the martial arts to the foreigners. Alright, and in the Bruce Lee, the Dragon, Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, it was in that movie where they're showing like him fighting this guy to kind of receive the rights to teach martial arts to foreigners, blacks and whites or whatever. The traditional Chinese community didn't want him teaching the martial arts to foreigners, and then they basically selected one of their best martial artists to fight Bruce Lee to basically get him to stop. Now, supposedly, just recently, people are telling me that Wong Man is still living, and his students are saying that he actually won the fight and all this other stuff, and that what Bruce Lee's is saying that happened in the fight didn't really happen. I mean, really, this is like, I just think it's just ridiculous. I mean, first of all, I don't believe martial arts is supposed to be for this, where it's just the best fighters that's all that matters. The best person that could fight, and that's it. I don't think it's about that, and I don't want to play into that. Fact of the matter is, Bruce Lee was a man of great kung fu, not just in fighting, but just in life. You could be as great as you want in fighting, but if he wasn't good in acting, we probably wouldn't even know about him. So he was a great actor. He was a great fighter. He was a great philosopher. He was a great teacher. He was a great educator. On top of that, he was a father of two, and he was able to, meet a woman and get married and develop a loving relationship with this woman. He went to college for at least a couple of years, and he was great. And he was a great dancer. He was considered one of the best cha-cha dancers ever. Not ever, but one of the great cha-cha dancer. He competed in cha-cha dancing competitions. He was good at many things, and that's what a real man of great kung fu is, and that's why I respect him so much. He wasn't just a great fighter, but then you have people like this who's just basically trying to they want to gain a name. They want to gain a name for themselves. So they want to take his fame away from him and direct it towards themselves. And I think these people are mediocre. They're not people that I wish to pay any attention to. And fact of the matter is, Bruce Lee acknowledged that during that fight, it basically made him realize that there's a lot of work that needs to be done as far as like discovering a new way, a more effective way. So in Bruce Lee's eyes, no matter if he won or lost, in his eyes, he saw it as a huge learning experience where Bruce Lee was such a perfectionist that he probably thought that he did lose. Bruce Lee was the type of person where if he gets punched one time, even if he punched you 100 times and he gets punched one time, he'll still try to figure out why did he get punched that one time. That's how much of a perfectionist he was. You could see it in his movies. So he clearly saw that, this person, he didn't beat this person easily. It was a challenge, and he had to figure out a better method. And that's what helped him liberate himself from being confined to just the techniques of the system of Wing Chun. And basically, I don't really feel that there is such a thing as winning or losing. I think that's just learning. And clearly, he learned a lot from that fight. And that fight was not a fight to death. So that's not really it's more of a sparring match. I don't feel that any fight is a real fight unless it's a fight to death. So it was more of a sparring match. And Bruce Lee learned a lot from that sparring match. And even after that sparring match, he started to have to discover new ways and more effective ways. And then he started to encounter other people like Chuck Norris, who was really talented in, for himself. And Chuck Norris, from my understanding, was the one who pretty much convinced them that kicking high could be used as a valuable tool for self-defense if you do it the right way. So then Bruce Lee started to train a lot in higher types of kicking. Then he meets Danny Insano, and then he learns from Danny Insano, learning, how to use the nunchucks and using the sticks, and he's learning throughout his development from various people. Then he started to learn from Muhammad Ali. Just watching Muhammad Ali's way of boxing, he started to imitate that. So he's learning through time, and developing more effective methods. And he started researching a lot, researching on the proper way of strength training. He researched a lot on Western boxing. And, before his death, he was heavily into fencing. And he was heading in the right direction. He was heading towards, like the highest level of efficiency. Like, after the fencing would pretty much lead to, like ways of firearms training. Because after the sword, it is the guns that becomes the most effective. So he was researching different methods and developing more effective ways of expression. And, I mean, that's what it is, it's kind of like Mayweather. To me, Bruce Lee is like a martial arts version of Mayweather. Mayweather's like undefeated, and Bruce Lee is like as talented as Mayweather, but in the realm of the martial arts, which integrates not just hand techniques but all techniques. Kicking techniques and elbows and knees and grappling and joint locks and all different weapons and different ranges, and he's representing like the martial arts version of Mayweather, like somebody that potentially, if you step into his realm of whatever game, he'll be the top person in that game. So say, it's you and Bruce Lee with fencing swords, he'll win. And then it's you and Bruce Lee with nunchucks, he'll win. You and Bruce Lee with just hand techniques, he'll win. You and Bruce Lee with just kick techniques, he'll win. Basically, you step into his realm, he'll win that area, because that's how much time he'll put into developing himself in those areas. That's the way that I envision him to be representing in the martial arts. Basically, like somebody like a Mayweather, which pretty much like is undefeated, and Bruce Lee's like, doesn't weigh a lot either, just like Mayweather. They don't weigh a lot, and that's how I see what he was representing in the realm of the martial arts. Now Mayweather, say there's somebody that claims that, I beat up Mayweather when we were 15 years old. I mean, it's not relevant anymore, because it's like people keep growing. So for example, you might be a high school football player, or let's use Michael Jordan for example. Michael Jordan was, cut from his like high school basketball team, but then through time he just proved that he's like, he just kept growing and getting better, so this fight with Wong Jack Man was just like high school, but Bruce Lee kept growing beyond that time period, so like people just keep growing, and people, like for example, people like Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali, they grow, and then they just crash, like they don't train anymore, and that's not what martial artists do, but that's what they did. And there's people like that. And then there's people like Bruce Lee where they're growing and then they meet obstacles along the way and it's a challenge, and then they just keep growing and growing and growing beyond that challenge. And that's how I feel like real martial arts is. You just keep growing through time. And real martial arts to me is not just about fighting and what you could do in the fighting. It's just about your way of living and just what you're representing with the martial arts. You know, there's other guys representing like ego and pride and competition, and why they want to fight with him to begin with. Well, they're pretty much trying to promote racism. They're trying to like force him not to teach foreigners just because they're foreigners. I mean, here you got racism against Bruce Lee, like a traditional view of like, you know, don't teach anybody that's not Chinese. I mean, and then they're just like trying to beat him up to stop him. I mean, it's just, they're not representing anything positive or good. You know, so like Bruce Lee's trying to fight against this, and you know, people will, the way that I see martial arts also is just, it's like, what do you prefer? I mean, like, what do you have interest in? I don't see martial arts as like this is better than that. It's more like these are different ways of expression, and which one do you like more? So I see martial arts to be like dancing, where there's like break dancing, there's like salsa dancing, there's swing dancing, there's like pop dancing, there's like strip dancing, whatever dancing. There's just various forms of dancing, cha-cha dancing, tap dancing. There's like so many ways of dancing, fan dancing. So many ways to express yourself in the way of dancing. But no way is better than another. It's just like, what do you prefer? What do you like? What is your style? Or just music, like country music, hip-hop music, you know, classical music, you know, opera music, just all different types of music. And what do you prefer? What do you like? That's how I see martial arts to be. I don't really feel that it's right to compare martial artists by saying who could beat who up. I think that's just a disgrace to the martial arts, and that's not in accordance to what it's meant to represent in my eyes. You know, because the way that I see it, you know, if you train long enough, you become a lethal weapon. It's like you're like a firearm that's ready to shoot, you know, that's loaded, one in the chamber, and a slight pull the trigger, and then it can mean the death of another person. And that's how dangerous it is. I mean, if you just give everybody in this world firearms, you see like how serious it is. There's loaded guns everywhere. Men have guns, women have guns, children have guns. I mean, just imagine everybody has a loaded gun, and then trying to debate who's better than who. Like who's the best like killer. I mean, that's not something that you want to compete about, because it's something that's very, very dangerous. And that's how I see martial arts to be, is that when you got two martial art masters that are in opposition, it's a dangerous thing, and you something that you don't play with. Just let them go on about their way, and you go on about yours, and just do your things separately. And that's it. You know, try to maintain the respect, and just don't even get into that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just a dangerous thing. It's just like two gangs, rivals. It just leads to more death. Or like you know, see what happened with Japan and the U.S. You know, with the Pearl Harbor, and then after that, you know, the atom bombs. I mean, you don't want to go to war. Just don't even go there. Let's just use martial arts as a way of more of a peaceful expression, and just have fun with it. As far as what's more effective than what, who gives a damn? Let's just train, and just realize that the guns are the most effective. So if you really are concerned about what's the most effective, then just arm yourself, and just keep it real like that. Just arm yourself, and then just have fun and exercise. and stay healthy. That's the way I see it.